What's going on, lads and lasses? Welcome back to 100% Mags. So here we go with a keep or sell video for the 25-26 season, as the 24-25 season has come to an end yesterday. Go check out my reaction on the channel for my thoughts on that game against Everton yesterday in the round-off to an absolutely fantastic season. There will be a season review coming on the channel in the coming days as well, so keep an eye out for that. But in this video, we are going to be talking about who I would keep or sell, and I want to hear your thoughts down in the comments below on who you would keep out of the players that will be mentioned in this video today. So starting off with the goalkeepers, we've got 5 goalkeepers on the books. We've got Nicky Pope, Vlachodimos, Dubravka, Ruddy and Gillespie. Now, obviously, some of them players will be moving on. Some of them will be staying. There has been talk that Newcastle are looking at goalkeepers coming in as well, with Joan Garcia coming possibly from Spain, or James Trafford coming from Burnley. So, obviously, there's going to have to be a goalkeeper or two or more leaving the club, either on permanent deals or loans. So let's start off with obvious choice, the first choice goalkeeper, Nicky Pope. Obviously, Pope is very reliable when fit, an experienced goalkeeper. He knows how to shot stop absolutely brilliantly, and unfortunately for Pope, however, he is a little bit of a slow learner on being able to play with his feet, which in the modern game, that is a vital part of goalkeeping. We're seeing it when, of course, Pope was out this season, that Dubravka added to the team in that department, being able to play with his feet. But talking about Pope, I would say we'll keep Pope, and if the rumours are to be true that Newcastle are looking to bring in a new goalkeeper, then I think that new goalkeeper that is coming in is not going to be coming in to be a backup goalkeeper. I think that goalkeeper would be coming in to be the #1 choice, and that would mean that Nicky Pope is going to be the backup goalkeeper. So I would keep Nicky Pope. I'd play him is a rotation to whoever comes in as the new goalie. Obviously, it's going to take time for that new goalkeeper, whoever it is, if we do get one, to be able to, fit into the team a little bit more, to integrate himself into the squad. So it is going to take him time. So obviously, Nicky Pope will be first choice until that goalkeeper settles himself into the team. Then I do believe, that goalkeeper will earn himself that #1 spot and get that #1 place in between the 6 forward. But goalkeeper, Nicky Pope, definitely staying, definite keep for me. Moving on to Vlachodimos, and of course, Martin Dubravka. Vlachodimos, I would move on, to be honest. I would try and see what we can get for him. Obviously, coming in from Nottingham Forest, included in that deal with Elliot Anderson, going the opposite direction, and he hasn't really had much game time, but when he has had game time, he's done pretty decent for it, to be honest. But I would look at seeing what we can maybe get for him, moving him forward. And as for Martin Dubravka, again, another one, he's on the agent side. He's becoming more surplus to requirements. Unfortunately, he did do really well for it this season when called upon. But if another goalkeeper comes in, that's going to knock Martin Dubravka down the pecking order even further from that #2 spot. So I don't see him wanting to stick around and be a third choice goalkeeper when he's at the latter end of his career. He still believes that he has got a lot left, and I believe he's got a lot left as well, and could easily be a first choice goalkeeper in another team. So if we could get a decent fee for Martin Dubravka, I think we should seriously be looking at it moving forward. And then we'll move on to John Ruddy and Mark Gillespie. Now, Ruddy obviously was just brought in as a backup option in case, we needed it. But he hasn't really done much for it, to be honest, other than the backroom stuff. Obviously helping, with the development of players coming through the team and, talking to the younger lads, because he's got a depth of experience from being in the game for so long. But I think, we will probably see him move away from the club, or he could possibly move to being in the back room at the team, being part of the coaching staff for Newcastle. But that would be entirely up to John Ruddy himself, unless he believes he's still got some game time left in him and can move away to another team where he could possibly get first team football. But I don't see him getting that first team chance at Newcastle. I really don't, to be honest. So I would either sell him or keep him and use him as a player to develop the young lads coming through the ranks. And the same goes for Mark Gillespie as well. I would keep him and let him, talk to the younger lads coming through the ranks. That would be my option on Ruddy and Gillespie, is to keep and put them as maybe as part of the coaching staff, but also, as backups as well, just in case we do need them. If it did come to a point where we would be needing them, but hopefully, touch wood, it doesn't come to that. Moving on to the defenders, we've got Trippier, we've got Botman, we've got Shaw, we've got Lascelles, we've got Jamal Lewis, we've got Matty Targett, we've got Mealcraft, we've got Lewis Hall, we've got Tino Livramento, we've got Dan Burn, and we've got Alex Murphy, Robocop, who is out on loan, of course. So, starting off with Kieran Trippier, leadership value is high. Aging, obviously, declining pace, obviously, but he is a player that has a lot forward and could still add something to the team as a rotation player. Obviously, he's not going to get the first team minutes that he's gotten in previous seasons, and that is a given, to be honest. He's going to be a valuable player to have on the bench when he needs to be called upon in games. And that is definitely a player that we should be looking to keep, unless, of course, Kieran Trippier doesn't want to be that, and he wants to go elsewhere and maybe seek some first team football. Maybe it's a big payday, something like that in Saudi Arabia, with it being the latter stages of his career. Maybe he might want to go off and see if he can find a big paycheck somewhere, but I don't think that's Kieran Trippier's style, to be honest. I think he's quite happy here. He's quite happy being, a backup, and quite happy to, be the leader off the pitch and on the pitch when he goes on as well. He's got a very vocal ability about him. So definitely, again, either keep him, or if he wants to move on, then, don't stand in his way on that one. So that's my thoughts on Kieran Trippier. Moving on to Botman. Botman, again, a player that unfortunately has been injured quite a bit this season, but a massive ability, a massive core defender, a key player for moving forward. Very young player as well. So he's still got loads to give. And I think we'll see a lot more of Sven Botman come next season. I'm sure he's going to want to make up for the season that he's had. I'm sure he's going to want to improve and push on and, get past this season that he's had as well, because this season hasn't been a great one for Botman, unfortunately, due to the injuries. But when he has played, he's been really good, and I hope we'll see more of that next season, and hopefully, not as much of the injuries that we've seen with Botman. Moving on to Fabian Shaw and Jamal Lascelles, two players that have been at the club for quite some time now. I think Shaw will be a player that will probably be kept for rotation. Still a fantastic defender. Pound for pound, best defender in the Premier League, in my opinion. He's well and truly paid back the fee that were paid from, which was only a small fee of about 3 million, to get Shaw into the club. And he's well and truly paid that back. He's been an absolutely fantastic servant for the club. And when he does finally retire, he will be going with our utmost respect, because Fabian Shaw has been an absolutely brilliant servant for this team. And I think we will see him continue playing forward. I don't see him leaving anytime soon. And I will see, him being that rotation player. I think next season, I think we will be looking at bringing in somebody in that right centre-back position to play on a regular basis, with Shaw rotating in and out of the squad. But when he has been in that squad this season and done his stuff, he's still a fantastic player. But you can see, that age is starting to catch up a little bit with him at times in some games, with a couple of mistakes here and there. But it is understandable and it is accepted in a way, because, Shaw has done some fantastic stuff with us over the years. So I'm not going to complain about that, and just the ability of Shaw moving forward. Jamal Lascelles, I think, again, has been a fantastic servant, brilliant servant for the team. Unfortunately, he's been out a lot this season with injury, and has missed quite a bit of the season. But I think we might see him stay at the team, continue to be that leader off the pitch, and leader on the pitch, sort of like Kieran Trippier doing. But we could possibly see, if he thinks, he's not going to get the first team football here that he wants to get, then we could possibly see him maybe being loaned out to another team or allow him to get some first team football, or possibly him being sold and seeing what we can get off of him. But for me, I would keep Jamal Lascelles. He's a leader, he's a vocal player, and he's the same as Kieran Trippier, same as Dan Burn. There's a lot of leaders in the background in Newcastle United. Eddie Howe likes that. He likes to have players that are willing to step up and be a leader for the team. It's a core group of players as well. So Jamal Lascelles is right in that group of players, and I can see him possibly staying. But it's a maybe on that one for me moving forward. Jamal Lewis, I think, unfortunately not developed as hoped. And I think it is time to move Jamal Lewis on. No longer at the club, I don't think, come next season. Matty Target, again, another one, injury prone, and I think he will be moved on, especially with Halsey doing so well in that left back position. But of course, we do need cover, so it could be an area where we see him maybe staying, but I do believe he will move on from the team. And Emil Kraft, definite stay for me. Adds that squad depth, brilliant rotation player, and he doesn't mind, being second or third choice right back in the squad. Can also move into that centre back role as well if we need him to play there. Halsey, definite keep, and Tino Livramento, definite keep as well. Two absolutely fantastic players, proved their worth this season forward, and hopefully we'll see Lewis Hall back soon as well after picking up that injury against Liverpool in the season. So that is my thoughts on Hall and Livramento. Livramento's been absolutely fantastic playing right back and left back as well this season, done absolutely brilliant, so definitely keep on both of them. Moving on to Dan Burn and Alex Murphy Robocop. Dan Burn, definite keep, play him as a rotation. Of course, not many teams around have a player of Dan Burn's ability or height, so that adds something to our team that not many other teams will have. So that's going to be an asset for us that we must keep, in my opinion. And like I say, it can play as a rotation player. Alex Murphy Robocop, out on loan, of course, young, promising, and a wealth of development. So hopefully we will see something happen with Alex Murphy. I think maybe he's going back out on loan for some more regular game time to develop his career a little bit more, or maybe Eddie might take a fancy to having him in around the squad. With, of course, we're playing that Champions League football next season. We will be attacking on all fronts in the Champions League, the Premier League, the FA Cup, and the League Cup. So that's 4 competitions. So we are going to need squad depth in the team to be able to attack on all fronts like that. So Alex Murphy could definitely maybe stick around the team and learn from some of the more experienced lads in the squad and, improve his game that way. And then looking at the midfield, we've got Joe Linton, we've got Sandro Tonali, we've got Anthony Gordon, Bucky Barnes, we've got Jacob Murphy, Joe Willock, Longstaff, Bruno, and Lewis Miley. So starting off with Joe Linton, Tonali, and Bruno, that is a definite 100% keep on them 3. I can't see either of them 3 going, to be honest. Tonali, absolutely fantastic this season. He's been an engine in midfield forward. He's just constantly going. He's just been a constant performer forward this season. Brilliant to have him back in the squad as well after that whole situation that he went through the previous season. Joe Linton, absolute tank, definite 100% keep, versatile, suited perfectly to the Premier League, suited perfectly to the Champions League as well, what we're going to be playing next season. And Bruno, just world-class captain, El Capitan, Bruno, untouchable, definitely going nowhere. So definitely keep on them 3. Sean Longstaff, I think, will probably be, maybe he's kept or looked at being moved on. If he's kept, he's going to be a rotation player. So it's up to Longstaff himself if he wants to continue to be a rotation player or, move on and try and look for some first team football. Maybe he's on the loan or on a permanent deal. But there has been clubs looking at him already. The likes of Leeds United, the likes of Everton have been looking at Sean Longstaff. But does Longstaff want to move away from his boyhood club and from the region? I don't know if he will want to do that or not. And especially with we're playing Champions League football, I'm sure he's going to want to be pushing for minutes in the squad come next season. So for me, it would be a keep unless a really good offer does come in and Sean Longstaff wants to take consideration to that offer. Joe Willock is a keep, but again, another player that if a good offer comes in, we should maybe be looking at it because he does have a lot of problems with injuries. And when he's fit, he's absolutely brilliant. Don't get us wrong. Joe Willock is absolutely brilliant when he's fit. He's a box-to-box threat. He's got some absolutely amazing speed, and he can really add that extra touch to the team. But when he's injured all the time, it's a sort of similar situation to what I'll talk about in a moment when we get at the strikers with Callum Wilson. We can't be having players on the books that are going to be injured all the time. So I'd say if he can stay fit and he can push for them minutes, then we should keep him. But if a good offer does come in for Joe Willock, then maybe he's consider, moving him on. Or maybe we could see maybe something in the loan department, but I don't think that'll be something that Eddie Howe will be looking at. But we do need that squad depth. So that's something that we're going to have to consider, on this whole moving players on and keeping players as well. Murphy has had one of the best seasons of his career, if not the best season of his career. So I think he'll definitely be staying, but it'll be more of probably a backup rotation player next season. With talk of already looking in that right wing department for bringing somebody in. Players that we're looking at in that department at the moment as well. The likes of Brian Burmo, Brentford, definite player that would suit our style of play. So I could see, Murphy taking a back seat to Brian Mbeumo, but Murphy's going to be pushing for them minutes because he's just had one of the best seasons in his career, so he's going to be pushing for them minutes come next season to continue that form going on. And Barnes and Gordon, I believe, are definite keeps. Gordon has been fantastic when called upon this season, and Barnes has done really well to fill in when Gordon was out injured as well. So I do think we will see Gordon and Barnes both staying as well. There'll be plenty of room for these players to get minutes come next season because of all of the competitions that we'll be competing in. So there's going to be plenty of game time up for grabs as long as you are able to prove your worth to get in there. That's the good thing about Eddie. He does like players to prove their worth. Nobody's place is guaranteed. You've got to work for it, and that is a good thing. And that's what you always love about Eddie, is that, you know, players have to work for their place. Nobody is guaranteed a place in this squad. But that, of course, then takes one to Lewis Miley. You know, I think Miley is going to have a fantastic season next season. I think that could be a season where we see, you know, Lewis Miley coming into his own. You know, we've already seen it the previous season, you know, when we're playing in Champions League, taking on the likes of Kylian Mbappe, proving what he's got, that abilities that he's got as well, you know, but he's getting towards the 20s now. He's in 19 years old, getting towards 20 years old come next season. So this is a time where we'll start to see, you know, Lewis Miley showing that potential even more and pushing forward even more as well. And he will be pushing for minutes himself going forward. So definitely keep on Miley. Miley's going absolutely nowhere. And that takes one to, of course, the forwards to round out the video. And on the forwards, we are looking very, very late in the forward department. Obviously, we've got players the likes of Gordon that can play in that position if needs be. But natural forwards, natural strikers of Willock, Isak and Asul. Of course, there's only 3 in that forward department, so that's an area that we are going to be looking at. As of the news today, Newcastle talking about Callum Wilson possibly being given an incentive deal where it's a pay-as-you-play sort of deal for Callum Wilson. So if he wants to accept that, you know, remains to be seen right now. But I think if he does accept that, that is a really good deal for us because that means that, you know, we've got a player in Callum Wilson who's got that instinct, the ability to know where to be. Yes, his legs aren't what they used to be, but he has that ability, that insight to know where he needs to be in the box at the right time to just poacher that ball into the back of the net and do a nice little bit of play that way. And hopefully we can see, you know, him doing that next season. Isak is a definite keep. So that's my thoughts on Isak. You know, he's definitely going absolutely nowhere. Isak is a literally elite level player, centrepiece striker. He's going to be the focal point of our attack for next season in the Champions League. And I can't wait to see what he does, you know, and what we can build around Isak as well in the squad. And then Will Asul, I think, is a keep as well, but maybe he's going away on loan to see if he can get regular time, of course, regular minutes under his belt. And looking at some of the players that are being linked to Newcastle as well, in the forwards department, Newcastle are looking at the likes of, you know, bringing in somebody like Liam Delap from Ipswich for 30 million, triggering his release clause. Quite a lot of people are looking around Liam Delap in this transfer window coming up. So we're right now at the moment in the middle of having talks apparently with him. So we'll see what happens on that one. But it is a player that Eddie Howe has says that he is really interested in bringing to the squad. And if we do bring somebody like Liam Delap into the squad, then I do think that would mean we'll see the likes of Will Osula maybe go away on loan for regular game time. But Will Osula can also play on the wing as well, so we could maybe see him being a backup in that right wing position as well, behind the likes of Murphy. And if Brian Mbeumo comes in, then Brian Mbeumo, of course, as well. But let us know your thoughts anyway down in the comments below. A quick summary to end off the video of players that I'd keep. I'd keep Isak, I'd keep Bruno, I'd keep Gordon, Tonali, Joe Linton, Livramento, Botman, Pope, Hall, Willock, Miley, and then other players that I would keep and play in rotation would be Trippier, Shaw, Wilson, Burn, and Jacob Murphy. And then players I would move on, I would be looking to move on the likes of Dubravka. I'd be looking to move on the likes of maybe Lascelles, or keeping them in the squad is, of course, a vocal leader in the background. Jamal Lewis, move on as well. Crafu I'd keep as a rotation. Ruddy I'd keep to maybe train up the younger lads. Gillespie the same. Target I'd be looking to move on as well. And then Asul is another one that could be, back up to, like I said, Murphy or Brian Mbeumo on that right wing, or possibly being loaned out for regular minutes. And then Alex Murphy, a similar situation as well, being that backup player, learning from some of the more experienced lads in the squad. But anyway, let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Let us know what you would do with this Newcastle United squad that is currently here right now, going into the next season. And I'll see you all for the next one. Remember, hit like, share, subscribe to the channel, and how are the lads?